All right, guys, I want to talk about MGTOW in the sense of being content but also keeping busy. We're in the Philippines at the moment. This is one of our apartments over in the Philippines. One of the things I want to say is being content is not just about today, it's setting things up for long term. So, for example, if you're learning to make an income from home instead of having to go out for a day job, that's setting yourself up to be content, but also look to try and not get locked into longer hours, because a lot of people work from home for less money and aren't working longer than they would in a normal job. So that's one thing to look at. Another thing is setting yourself up with some goals. Like I said, this is one of our apartments here. We've got several apartments here. We can actually live out in the Philippines quite easily because we rent out our apartments and we have other ways to make money online and everything else. But it's took time to get to that position, and now we're there. This is why I took a trip over and bringing my mother-in-law over to the Philippines, over to Spain on holiday for a month. But at the same time, that's what makes me happy. You know, that's what makes my wife happy as well. I know a lot of guys that are MGTOW would actually say, "Oh, well, I ain't gonna do that." That's the thing with me. I understand that MGTOW is on multiple levels. I also recognize that there's a lot of people that will say they're MGTOW, but they're not. A lot of it's to do with direction or making decisions that can drive them forward, because we're in such a disruptive environment these days. Some people just need something to focus on. And one of the things I would say focusing on is your end goals. And your end goal should be getting you to where you're content in life. This is why when people say, well, I'm retired now, they just do stuff. You know, they just like find things to do, but they've already set themselves up for it. Whether it's buying a camper van before they retire or whatever. The point is they set themselves up for an end game. You know, at the end of the day, they've already got something in line. And like this, you know, living in the Philippines is possible. There's a lot of guys here that come here to meet somebody as a partner. But as I was saying earlier about MGTOW, because somebody's already brought up the fact that many guys here, well, majority are looking for companionship. The point being is there's nothing to say that people that are MGTOW cannot do this. At the end of the day, what's wrong with traveling and living over in the Philippines or whatever? But also you got to remember, it's not just about relationships in like a marital way anyway. For example, we normally have nannies and stuff like that because obviously I've got kids. But if you're a MGTOW and say you're getting on a bit, maybe you want to live in helper or whatever, the Philippines makes that very affordable and achievable, wherever you are now may not be cost effective. I also find in the Philippines, a lot of time you can do what you want. Now, I'm not on about annoying your neighbors, but say you decide you want to have chickens, you can have chickens. You know, you decide you want to grow a herb garden, do what you want. It's all achievable. Because I do find, I mean, the UK is a nightmare for it. You know, I had a friend that had to get rid of her chickens because it was the wrong area or development code or whatever. But the whole point is, a lot of things can be restrictive, even though the chickens weren't actually a problem whatsoever because there was no rooster. It wasn't like a noise issue. There was no pollution issue or anything. It was just a case of she didn't get along with her neighbors already, so they made her get rid of the chickens. But here in the Philippines, nobody even batters an eyelid on that sort of stuff. If you were like wanting to do breeding birds, whatever, it's not a problem. And that's one of the things I will say. I do like the Philippines in so many ways, and that's one of them. Is you can do a lot of stuff here that may be difficult to do elsewhere. There's a lot of people set up businesses from home, where I know in the UK it's all right when you're sitting there working on the computer, but as soon as you start converting to having an office, it then starts, oh, they want business rates, you've got to do this, has it got the right regulations? I remember I had a unit that was doing furniture years ago, and it was like, yeah, but it's a grade D engineering. I'm like, can I change it to retail or can I change it to, oh no, it's grade D engineering. I'm like, yes, but it's obviously no engineering going on there. it's actually manufacturing furniture, just refused to do it. You know, completely refused it. It's like, it's grade D engineering. That's it. There is no flexibility in it. They would rather a business didn't operate there than actually adjust some regulations to accommodate a business that was actually functional and employed several people. No, it's much more important to keep these bits of paperwork going for an industry that is a dying breed. You know, at the end of the day, there is a lot of need for engineering, but at the same time, everything gets outsourced. But hey-ho, they'd rather sit there and go, well, at least all our paperwork's correct. But Philippines, that stuff doesn't really matter. Most of the time, if you're not bothering anybody else, they're not bothering you either. And that's why I like it here. But yeah, set yourself up to be content in life. And I do recommend defining what would make you content. What would make you happy? What would make this happen? I just want to stress that happiness is something that is not the same as content, because short-term happiness could be like going out on a shopping spree, and then the downside of that is if it's all run up on credit cards or whatever, you've now accumulated debt. So I would say long-term being content is a long-term objective you set yourself up, so you get the life you want. You know, whether I've seen some of you guys out there already have like herb gardens and things like that to reduce your cost of living. At the same time, it gives you something that you like doing as well. That's the other side of this, which gets down to being content as well as self-sufficient. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.